Now, we move from whiskeys, we move from grain-based spirits to grape-based spirits with the number 8, which is Nonino Il Merlot Grappa. 100% Merlot grape, absolutely pristine distillation by the Nonino family. Now, Sue and I have not been to the Nonino distillery, but we have had dinner with the Nonino family here in America. And years ago, and here again is a situation where when I first started reviewing spirits in the late 80s, Grappas were god-awful. I mean, anything that I'd review was terrible. It would take the paint off your house. I mean, it was really bad. I mean, you know, it was Il Crappo rather than Il Merlot. And so it was horrible. And that's because Grappa traditionally is a funky, bucolic peasant drink that was available because everybody has made wine in Italy, in all the provinces, for at least 2,000. I mean, you know, the Etruscans, before the Romans became a power, they were making wine in central Italy. So Italy has been this hotbed for winemaking, but also for distillation. In fact, really the first indicators that distillation had moved from the Arabic countries in the Middle East into Europe was at the medical school of Salerno, Italy, where in their textbooks in the 12th century, they mentioned distillation for the making of liqueurs, for potions. You know, dyspepsia was a huge problem in the Middle Ages in Europe. You know, stomach problems because water was impure, food was often putrid, so they needed things to kind of settle the system down. So the school of Salerno, medicine school of Salerno, Italy, had chapters in their medical books about distillation and making medicines. So distillation's been around for a long time. Not as long as winemaking and brewing, but nonetheless, it's been around for a long time. So with this very rustic style of spirit came very, very rough and sometimes highly unpalatable grappas. But this in the last 10 years, last 15 years in particular, starting with Nonino, Angelo Gaia, Antonella Bocchino, Jacopo Poli. These are the real modern contemporary geniuses of making grappa. And I think the spirit is as pristine and pure as any you're going to get. Again, I wish personally that grappa was a bigger component of the American menu for beverage alcohol, but it just isn't. Certain, you know, obviously in Italian neighborhoods it certainly is, Italian restaurants, better ones it certainly is. And I'm seeing it more and more. I wish it would be more of a real commodity in America, because this is wonderful spirit. What are you getting in this? I mean, there's just fruit written all over this. There's jam, there's preserves. Does it smell like Merlot? Well, I don't know. That might be a stretch because it's been distilled. But boy, it has a yummy smell. And in the mouth, this thing is so clean and pristine. No burn whatsoever. I mean, this is just joyful drinking, I think. That is so clean. I mean, there isn't any fat on that. There's no oiliness to it. It's just absolutely pristine distillation, impeccably done, taken off the still. You know, the Noninos distill in very, very small stills. And the rule of thumb is the smaller the still, the more intense the spirit. So if the spirit is so intense as it's going through the pot still, what you have to do is make sure that what you're taking off the still is just it's that center cut. You know, when I was a kid growing up in Chicago, my dad would come home from the lumber yard and he'd have watermelons under his arm and he'd put them on the table. And I had this horrible reputation in my family as being the first kid coming in with a knife, diving into the center of that watermelon to get that center core, because that's the sweetest part. So the great distillers of the world are aiming for that heart of the heart, the center cut of that distillation. And certainly Noninos, they just get it. They get it. I mean, this is just pristine distillation.